Welcome back to Cryptid Mysterious. Stick around and hear the encounter of a pair of moose hunters as they come across a huge sasquatch in the state of Idaho. I was out on a hunt with one of my buddies, hoping to fill a moose tag in the region of the Clearwater River drainages. Anyone familiar with the state knows that this locale is a heavily timbered and rugged area, and difficult to navigate and hunt in. I had been here many times before, and although it's difficult, it can be also very rewarding to hunt in. We had been working the hillside, hugging the river, stopping at times to make some calls in hopes of coming across a nice bull, to no avail. Now, don't get me wrong, there's an ample supply of wildlife here, but we're always looking for the next trophy. Whenever I hunt moose, the meat is donated and the rack is mine. To some of you, that may sound nuts, but I was a single at this time in my life, and if you've never seen a large moose after it was butchered, you could damn near fill a small walk-in freezer with the meat. It is because of this that I typically donate my kills. There are a lot of hungry people out there who are more than happy that I and others do so. I don't think that most people who have plenty of food consider how far 900 pounds of properly harvested meat can go in feeding the hungry. At any rate, I don't know how I got on that subject, but I feel that hunters always have to defend what we do. So my friend and I had worked our way into the edge of a shallow ravine, and we had scoped out some cows and a couple of bulls. One in particular looked to be large and ancient, but we would have to get closer. Gradually, we made our way down into the zone we had been seeing from up on the slope, and confirmed what we had thought. This was a really mature bull, well beyond his years of contributing to the herd as far as propagation is concerned. These are the types of animals that we try to harvest. Having made our way into position, some 100 yards from the beast, I steadied my rifle on a limb and took a shot. I was sure that I hit him, having seen the dust fly off his shoulder on impact, and he took off. Now, just so you understand who it is that you're dealing with, neither I nor my friend are good trackers. In fact, if you put the two of us together, you wouldn't come up with one good tracker. The reality is that tracking is, in my opinion, a gift, and very few people have it. We're always hoping that our kills drop somewhere near where we shot them, but that was not the case this day. When we reached the spot where we were, or when we reached the spot where we hit him, there was very little visible blood, but we knew the direction that he had begun to run. We were doing our best, but we found nothing, and the forest seemed to be ever tightening around us. For 3 hours, we felt like we were going in circles, trying to follow this trail. We had just reached a spot where we were breaking out of the timber into a somewhat clear slope, descending more than likely several hundred feet below us. As we sat for a moment, I pulled out my binoculars to have a look around the hill in hopes of seeing the bull, and noticed something dark moving in the tall grass near some shrub pines. From our angle, neither one of us had a good look at whatever it was, so we backed into our cover of the woods and moved into a better position to see. Having moved some 200 feet to our left, we crept into position where we could now see a huge sasquatch beside my dead bull. It was kneeling next to the bull, with both of its hands placed flat on the animal's side. Neither one of us thought about shooting it, which is another aspect of a good hunter that your average person knows nothing about. We had a tag for a moose. There are laws, rules, and regulations that we follow to the letter. We didn't have a tag for shooting a Sasquatch, no matter what you think or don't think about them personally. We were there, we had rifles, and we weren't going to kill it unless we were attacked. We watched it for maybe 10 minutes as it sat next to the moose, and looking around, at one point it seemed like it was petting it. I remember thinking to myself that maybe it was just really happy to find this fresh beast laying there. I don't think that it was another 5 or 10 minutes later when the Sasquatch stood up, grabbed the moose by the antlers, and dragged it out of our view into the cover. The two of us sat there looking and whispering to each other. We were wondering, just like anyone else would, after seeing such a thing, what was the creature doing? Is it tearing the moose up behind the bushes? Was he hiding it and going to return with help later? I mean, we don't know anything about these creatures. They're an enigma to us. We stayed there for a good hour and then left, not knowing if it was still there or if it had gone away in a different direction. But I will say this, we weren't going down there to find out. That's for damn sure. We had the glasses on this thing at 150 yards with total clarity. The moose was more than likely close to 1,200 pounds, and this thing was equal in size. The fur in the bright sunshine was shiny and black. In fact, it was so shiny, it looked like it was oiled. Along with being huge and muscular, which I'm sure you've heard in 100 other stories about these things, what struck me the most was how it moved the moose by itself. When it stood up, it grabbed an antler with one hand and simply slid the moose, with what appeared to be no effort, back into the trees, like you or I would pull a lawnmower back when mowing. This thing pulled a half a ton with one hand like a rag doll. Even with several men, you have to butcher a moose in the field just to break it down in order to carry it out. And we would have a hard time just trying to shift it around to make our cuts. This Sasquatch must have had the strength of 100 men. It's just that simple. And that's the story, exactly as it happened. Well, thanks again for tuning in for another episode here at Cryptid Mysterious. Greatly appreciate it if you'd hop down there in the comments and let me know where you're listening from. And if you have any thoughts on this video, I'd greatly like to hear them. If you have had an encounter of your own, or let's say maybe you even have pictures of your own. I recently received a picture from a listener that I may be posting here on the channel in the near future as I get organized. I would love to hear your story. I'd love to even feature it on the channel. Shoot me an email to cryptidmysterious@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.